So hello and welcome. My name is Lee Hayhurst. I'm the executive editor at Travolution. Travolution is a global media partner for World Travel Market, but specifically for World Travel Market's Travel Forward section, which is all about travel technology and digital. And today I'm very excited to be joined by our winner of our Travel Leaders Award, which has gone this year to TravelPerk. We've got Raphael Daverio on the call today, who is he's the founder of Albatross. We'll talk about that in a minute, but he's also the product lead for TravelSafe, which is actually the product which won them the award this year. What we were asked to do was to put forward some candidates for this award that really epitomised a reaction to obviously the situation with COVID. And we wanted to do it from a sort of tech point of view. So TravelSafe was one of a short list that was looked at, and it came out as winner. So congratulations, Raphael. Thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Just before we talk about TravelSafe specifically, just give us some background on TravelPerk, but also Albatross, which was one of an acquisition that TravelPerk made in the not too distant past.
Absolutely. So, well, actually, this whole journey started when I started Albatross, which was an API for information on travel restrictions, local guidelines, and more COVID risk-related information, which then counted TravelPerk as one of its customers and ended up being acquired by TravelPerk in July 2020. And yeah, so then Albatross's technology and data was then kind of integrated into TravelPerk's offering, which made sense because TravelPerk is a TMC for small and medium businesses. So we are a fully digital solution that helps travelers and companies manage travel.
Okay. So Albatross was acquired by TravelPerk in 2020. And then out of that, TravelSafe was created. Just talk to us, explain what TravelSafe is.
So the concept was very similar, but the idea is that the TravelSafe API is the one-stop shop for any COVID risk information. So we allow travel applications to give information to their users on travel restrictions, local guidelines, transmission levels, airline safety measures, all this kind of things that will help them improve their customer journey. And yeah, the API is powered by TravelPerk's own technology and own data. And our mission is to make traveling during COVID a delightful experience for travelers, which is a big challenge.
For people watching this who aren't so technically savvy, you've used the word API there. Just in layman's terms, what is an API and why are APIs so important today?
So, very good question. So an API, the best way I find to describe this is it's like talking to another human, but it's the way machines talk to each other. So if I ask you a question, you're going to respond to me with some information, while machines also need a way to communicate between each other. And APIs are just a way that you can agree on how I'm going to ask another machine the question and how I'm going to respond on how the machine is going to respond. So it's just a kind of a way to communicate.
Yeah.
And the reason it's absolutely key is that it helps companies access the same data. So if I build an API on travel restrictions, well, then I can open my API to access to anyone. And then every machine or every company or every developer on the face of the earth can access my API and get information on whatever I've decided to offer, essentially.
Okay. So it's easy to integrate with third parties. That's the idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go back, so rewind a bit then to when you were setting this whole thing up. Clearly we're in a very difficult place as a travel industry. Not a lot of travel was happening, but a lot of change was happening. And that's been a constant through the last 18 months. What were the main challenges that you faced then in trying to get that access the information in the first place and then provide it back out to the market in a way that they could use?
Yeah, so I guess So on the specific challenges of getting the data right, that is obviously the main challenge of getting information on travel restrictions, local guidelines, etc. It's like, how do you get accurate data? And so while we really put a lot of time into investigating the sources of data, and realized quickly that there's no one source of data for this. There's a multiplicity of local data, diplomatic data, journalistic sources, and very often they have conflicting or contradicting or confusing information. So it's really hard to figure out what's true and what's not. And so I had to invest significant amounts of time building a quite sophisticated alert system to be able to get the information as quickly as possible when any change is made, kind of recoup the information between different sources and kind of process changes in real time so that users were able to get the information as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sounds horrendously complicated, particularly as, like you said, not only was it hard to get the information in the first place, but even we found in the UK, even government sources were contradictory. So how you unravel that is extremely difficult. Yeah. Was it a purely tech solution, or did there need to be a kind of human oversight just to make sure, just a sense check what you were putting out?
That's a very good question. So I had a dream at the beginning that I was going to automate this whole thing, and that it would work with one person sitting there, and that a robot will go get information, publish it to the API. What I quickly realized is that without a human intervention and a human touch to review this information, this wasn't going to happen. So really what we've invested in is kind of a human-assisted, I would say, process where we've built a lot of technology to find the sources of data, get the updates when they come in, and then we have an in-house team who are reviewing this information and are able to make the calls on whether this is new information or already existing information or information that is relevant to a user. So I would say we're using technology, but of course, also the human aspect of it was essential. Another reason why this human aspect is essential is because one of the things we realized was that all the diplomacy websites, as you correctly mentioned, were very confusing, had super long paragraphs of text, like huge pages that you need to read through, and were often out of date. So especially on these first 2 points, which is super long information and written in very confusing language, you need a human to come in and to say, okay, how do I simplify this concept for a user? How do I put it in a more structured format in a way that's going to be more understandable for a user? So that's also an area where the human aspect was absolutely essential. And
I guess the system was developed over time as well. It's not something you create as a one-off, that's it works all the time. You're constantly looking to iterate and improve things.
Absolutely. We started, and I would say that when we started, we were still using kind of UK diplomacy websites or US diplomacy websites as our sources. And now I'm very happy to say that thanks to all the improvements we've made to the system, we're now on average 8 hours ahead of the UK government's website when it comes to processing changes. And I think it's 17 hours ahead of the US diplomacy website. So it's indeed something that you improve over time and progressively get better results.
And do you guarantee 100% accuracy now? Is that possible, or are you as close to that as it's possible to get?
That's a very good question. I would say that that's what we aim to do for sure, right? Like the no errors doesn't exist. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. The reason being that sometimes even governments don't publish the changes on their websites that they want to do. So I guess for us, it's really trying to, we kind of decompose the problem in several steps. One is having the best sources. So we exclusively source now from local sources of government, which we found are the most accurate to get all this information. then we process it as quickly as possible. So we have an in-house team of humans who are there 24/7, kind of reviewing updates and publishing new changes to the API. And then we've implemented feedback loops in case something happens. So we're very open. We ask our customers, our users on TravelPerk, and our clients can also submit kind of feedback on specific let's say information that is published through the API. And that way we're actually seeing that, you know, we get only a couple requests every month, which is quite exceptional, I think.
Let's finish by just talking about what successes you've seen with this product. Brought on a lot of clients, I presume, in the TMC world, and that's obvious because when you're traveling for business, there is a corporate responsibility on that traveler, so you need that information.
Absolutely.
But what was interesting to us, I think, as judges, is that you also have been working with Skyscanner on this. So you've got that kind of consumer-facing element to it. And a company like Skyscanner, big though they are, have picked this up as a way to provide great information to their users as well. So you're seeing success both in corporate and sort of essentially non-corporate world as well.
I think that was my main surprise as well when we launched the API. I thought, okay, we have really a target market for TMCs and for business travel. But actually what we see is, so today we have over 50 customers, and the industries they are in range from OTAs like Skyscanner to accommodation rental, to luxury providers, to visa providers, to medias like Sky News, to TMC. So really a wide range of let's say players in the industry, and I think the reason we're seeing such a wide range of industries is just because all these travel companies have the same problems, right? Like whether you're on a personal travel to, let's say, London, and you want to know what the travel restrictions are, or you're traveling for business, your problem is the same. And I think one of the things the team is most proud of is the impact we've had with these clients. So for example, with Skyscanner, which is one of our main clients, they've seen a 40% increase in user satisfaction after using our data compared to the previous provider, IATA. So they're seeing increases in user satisfaction, increase in conversion for their bookings. So really, I think that's the part we're most proud of, is working with such a variety of companies and delivering impact for them.
Yeah, so a real success story come out of a very difficult period. You've managed to expand the scope of TravelPerk. And then for the future, I mean, COVID will, we hope, go away in the not too distant future, maybe not forever, but it will certainly reduce in importance. But I guess now you've probably learned things. You've got a product there which can be applied to all sorts of situations.
Absolutely. So it's the really interesting question that we're asking ourselves right now. I think two things. One, right now, we still think that travel restrictions and information for travel restrictions, local guidelines, is going to continue to exist. And the reason for that is that you're seeing, more focus on vaccines and vaccine passports and vaccine data. And the second is that we're probably going to continue seeing variants that emerge, right? COVID seems like it's gone, but probably there are going to be new variants to which vaccines will have different efficacy against each variant. And therefore, you're going to see an increase in the complexity of travel restrictions set up by countries where certain vaccines will be allowed and not others. You're already seeing that with the Chinese vaccines and things like that. So really, it's kind of like there's already still a long way to go in terms of all this information and this complexity that is likely to arise. So we're really focused on solving that. And then, of course, if you think about the primitives that we've built around this really great alert system and kind of the brand that we've built, the existing customers, of course, there's other services like risk alerts, visa information, etc., that our clients would be very interested to get. So I think it's a natural expansion for us.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Thanks for going through that with us. And once again, congratulations. I've got a certificate here which I printed out, but we'll get you the proper one.
Fantastic.
In a frame at some point to mark the to mark the win. Thanks again for that, Raphael, and congratulations.
Thank you, Lee, and appreciate it.